Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and a bit of an update video on the monk and overall thoughts on PoE2 as well. At this point in the game, I have just then finished completing the campaign. Took quite a while, but it was pretty engaging the whole time and I had a lot of fun, and my monk had some ups and downs, but by and large, I did overall really enjoy my monk. Progression, gameplay, the sort of fluidity of the skills, learning the class and all that. And as you can see, the single target on this thing is pretty cracked. This is like the cruel version of most of the boss fights. So we're talking like Act 2, 3. There is definitely still some danger out there. This is the Sanctum, like Trial of Sakuma thing. I think this thing's pretty busted and kind of overtuned, but at the same time, I think we're also very weak and don't know anything about the game. So going to reserve my opinions on that one for just a little bit, I'd say. But that said, this video is mostly just an update about the monk, my experiences, and how things are going, and how just like kind of an update on the guide, so that if you want to jump in and like keep following along with the monk, you certainly can. Because it's gone well enough to the point where, yeah, I think monk's a pretty good class. I think there's a lot you can do with the monk, and I think I still have barely done anything with it, and yet it's still working out well enough. Just had to throw in one quick death clip there, because this monkey, definitely lethal, will be one-shotting people, has one-shot a lot of HC players. You can just kind of like circle strafe around it to avoid it, but, you know, we've been limit testing some bosses. We've been checking plenty of mechanics and stuff instead of just pure killing stuff. And I also included this clip here because this is the Act 3 boss that you have to kill for your spirit quest. So just a quick bit of housekeeping. To get spirit in this game, you got to do this boss both in Act 3 and in Act 6, or Act 3 round 2, the cruel version, and also there's a spirit thing in Act 1. So I think it's Act 1, 3, and then 6. So that's where you get your spirit. And then otherwise, just throwing in some clips to show some of the damage that the monk is dealing. Freeze, as you can tell, is very powerful indeed, especially against large boss fights. And then this is where I just started mapping. So this is like my third or fourth map. Really not a big deal yet as far as endgame content. And this is the very first breach I'm trying. And it felt pretty overwhelming already. My character currently has 5 cold res, and this is a cold breach. Still managed to get away from it, but it is definitely very dicey content. And my character is currently wearing basically nothing endgame worthy. It's like all like level 30 or 40 gear. So take it with a grain of salt for how fucking dangerous it all looks. You're probably going to feel a similar way as well, but maybe you got lucky and you upgraded some more gear, and maybe you got a better start to endgame. Either way, this does kind of give you a taste for what endgame might be able to look like in PoE. 2, once it kind of ramps a little bit more, because I'm getting pretty overwhelmed and there's quite a lot of mobs, and I do have some attacks that can explode screens and stuff. So, you know, still kind of reserving judgment as to how deeper progression of this type of stuff is going to look. But you can see there's a bit of potential for some proper blastage gameplay in the end as well. With all that though, I do want to just jump in and show you what my monk is like in modern day times after completing the campaign, and also just talk a bit more about PoE2. So here we are with the monk. It is now level 69. That's after running, I don't know, 5-6 maps, something like that in the end game. I think I finished the proper, you know, full campaign by around level 66, something like that, the end of Cruel. So Cruel Act 3. And Cruel overall wasn't too bad to go through. Like Act 1 to 3, learning it for the first time was probably a bit more intense than going through Cruel. The fuck is going on here? Going through Cruel from 3 to... Alright. Going from Cruel for 1 to 3, because we know it a second time around, you know, it's not too bad. And, man, that guy is on something. And what's been happening is... my character's a bit more fleshed out, so I can kill stuff more. I can, you know my rotations, my combos a bit better. And basically, like in Act 1, Cruel, I think I died 0 times. Act 2, a handful of times. Act 3, another handful of times. And by campaign completion, I had probably about 40 deaths, which isn't too tragic, I don't think, while learning the game, and it felt okay. But yeah, our characters are still going to be pretty weak. And we also have kind of no idea what the fuck's happening. So just, you know, that's a bit of stuff about, you know, PoE2. We still basically don't know the game. Like, we're all kind of experimenting. I could do a lot more experimentation about my support gems and what I'm doing. And I've got basically a crap character. that functions, that's fun, that works, and you can kind of follow along as well. But once everyone starts figuring out all the proper bells and whistles when it comes to the game, I think it's going to feel a bit more streamlined, a bit more smooth. Make no mistake that I think this is a very hard game. I think it is a bit overtuned for like early Act 1. It's like the mobs are very fast, they hit pretty hard, and yeah, you don't have much at your disposal to like deal with it gear wise. And then the only other thing I think is the current trials for the Ascendancies. They seem a bit scuffed too. I don't think anyone asked for Sanctum to be a thing that was forced on anyone. So, yep, I can get everyone's frustration with that. And then they also get pretty fucking hard when we're talking about like level 50 to 60 plus. And then like ultimatum ones, they are a bitter pill to swallow. Those sort of modifiers that they put on you, they're just not fun. They're very challenging to have to apply to your character and stuff. So I think both of those ascendancies and the way they're currently implemented are a bit of a mistake. But as far as the game is concerned, PoE2, it's been fucking glorious going through it. Like the boss fights are amazing. I like the combat. I do not at all mind the slower feel or the less of the loot. It feels appropriate for how the game is and its pacing and all that. So that's, for me, mostly okay for now. That's like, after 3 days. So with all that said, let me jump into the monk portion of the thing. Up to this point, since the last video, the major changes that have happened are I just then swapped out Glacial Cascade for Stormwave. Similar feeling, but this one doesn't have to make you position anywhere near as well. Still similar feeling, you can do either one, it's completely fine. And my supports I don't think are very efficient. I'm just kind of doing what was okay at the time. Martial Tempo, Ice Bite, and Long Shot. Then since the end of the last video, I did pick up Shattering Palm, and this is the skill that's going to let you do these big explosions. I'm still getting kind of used to it and, pressing it at the right time and my keybinds and stuff, but when you pop this one and then kill some stuff, it will explode screens and it feels really cool. So with this one, I got Rising Tempest, Momentum, and Deep Freeze. Don't know if this is the right shit. I just started attaching some stuff and here we are. Tempest Flurry is our bread and butter for good damage, and then comboing it with Bell is kind of how we have a lot of single target. So charge this up a little bit. Crescendo is what I've got. I think I might get rid of this straight after this video. Conduction and Primal Armament. And then Tempest Bell itself has Expanse for more area, Heavy Swing, and Immolate. We then have Herald of Ice, and I've picked up Herald of Thunder recently. Herald of Thunder is going to make your character feel quite a bit nicer, just for clearing, I think. I just didn't have the dexterity for it during the first video. To that, I've attached Coursing Current and Maim. Don't know, once again. Supports you should take very much with a grain of salt here. I haven't min-maxed. I've just put stuff in that I thought, yeah, maybe that works. Herald of Ice has Cold Fusion and Blind, and then Lingering Illusion. This is the thing that helps me get power charges sometimes, and it only really starts to feel good when mobs are going to kill that illusion quickly, so in the more difficult settings when there's more mobs. And then yes, it kind of gives me power charges sometimes, but it's not really a foolproof method. We then have Persistence attached to that. The other way I'm getting power charges is through Killing Palm, so we just cull things. We have Close Combat there and Profusion. And then lastly, I think what I didn't include was Charge Staff. That's what makes us look like a big, Star Wars Darth Maul thing. Try to keep it up as often as possible. And then we have Perpetual Charge, Innovate, and Super Critical. For my gear, I'm still using the same stuff I was using like fucking 30 levels ago, but what I've kind of figured out, the way I've spec'd, flat elemental damage seems to be the most important. We can have a big fizz one as long as we're like scaling fizz better, but I think at the moment I'm not. So yeah, get some lightning, get some cold, get some fire. And those big stats are also what help you to ignite, freeze, chill, shock, all of that. Gloves that have some leech, we don't deal that much physical damage, so it's kind of whatever, but this still helps a little bit. Rings basically doing fuck all. And then try and get life wherever you can because it will help, as well as resist, movement speed, stats, whatever you can. I did have an amulet that had a lot of spirit, so I've seen you can get a lot of spirit on both chests and amulets, but currently I don't really need more spirit, so I'm not wearing that at the moment. But bear in mind that you can get spirit on amulet slots. In my second weapon slot is a shield. It doesn't do anything, just, letting you know, because people ask a lot. It's there. We can press Q and, raise shield sometimes, but I don't do it. It just doesn't really fit my playstyle. And then, yeah, mana flask is usually what takes care of most of our mana. And then as far as the passives are concerned, once again, still this, into this. I'm probably going to go for this as soon as I can, but I don't think it's going to really do much. It seems like it's going to be a bit undertuned. I mean, we'll see. We'll probably give it a shot, but I don't know if it's actually going to do much. As far as my passive tree is concerned, I went deep into crit as much as I could without traveling too far. So I got all the crit everywhere. I went all the way over to get some crit and the staff crit and stuff. And when we crit, it is very noticeable. That's when most of my damage is occurring, and you can see that big, heavy stuff is happening. Basically, I'm critting. That's why it's happening. And then I got all this stuff. I mostly did this area because I picked up a hat that has energy shield, and thus I've got this evasion node for it. So if you don't have a hat with big energy shield, and I might replace it soon with something like this, then we're probably unspecking this. Don't know if we're still doing this. We'll figure it out. But the passive tree, I have barely explored only in this region, and there's still a lot of it to go. So basically stumbling around in the dark. I think that's about it. I'm not sure we really need to mention anything else. Still going well on the monk, still having fun on it. I could explore the endgame a bunch and try and min-max the monk a bit and try and figure it out a bit more. Or maybe I could start another character and go another round through the campaign just to see the difference on the second time around. Not too sure yet. For now, we'll probably keep going with the monk a little bit, but absolutely I'll let you know what's happening next time. As far as actual gear upgrades though, make sure you're checking your vendors pretty much whenever you level and stuff, using your currencies, using your orbs, exalting, regaling, whatever, so that your gear does get kind of upgraded slowly over time, because gear is a big deal at the moment, and like I said, my gear is terrible right now. If I actually went out and did a bit of trading, I'm sure I could double the character of my power pretty quickly. It's just whether or not you want to go do that. And apologies for it being fairly disjointed, but I had to attach a little bit to the end of the video because I did end up actually just now trying out the other source of generation for charges. That is a pretty good source. There's two other sources you can use if you want to. Basically, I tried out Profane Ritual. You can do that. That'll generate some charges, but it's a bit of a cast that you got to do. Otherwise, we can replace the thing that we were using, Lingering Illusion, with Combat Frenzy, and then you can attach Profusion, possibly something else. But the main reason that this is now going to give us charges, we gain Frenzies, but instead of Frenzies, we get power charges using Resonance. I did catch on to this to begin with a couple of days ago, but never actually tried it out. Neversink Mans posted it on Twitter and said it's a good way of doing it, and then everyone's like, yep, do the thing that Neversink's doing. And yeah, you can try it out when you crit, when you shock, that sort of thing. It's going to end up working pretty well, and then that sort of solves power charges for our character. So that's kind of something you can do to solve power charges and have a more fluid build. I did also just then put attack speed onto Tempest Fury to try that out, and that just is going to help us proc our charge staff a little more. And then one other thing, I don't remember if I actually mentioned in this video, but I should, to get our next tier of ascendancies, so we get, ascendancy 1 and 2 done with Act 1, then with Act 3. To get the next one, so your 5 and 6 points, I think you need an inscribed ultimatum with 7 trials like this, and a Sekima with 3 trials like this. I can't fully confirm, I haven't done it, but I think that's what you need. I started seeing these drop right near the end of Act 3 and now during maps. And then for your last 2 points, you're probably going to need one that does number of trials 10 and number of trials 4. And then, as I mentioned earlier, these are kind of bullshit mechanics right now. You're going to need to be over-leveled, you're going to need to know what the fuck they do, and you're going to need to be able to overpower them because they are hard. So that's hopefully everything I need to say for the video. Some extra power charge juice, and then also for this. So with that, there we go. Hopefully the video's done. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.